Okay, so in terms of how to actually qualify an opportunity, let's give our candidates some direction as far as opportunities to be looking into that are going to be considered relatively recession-proof, right? I mean, there are problems in the market. They'll probably seek their way into our marketplace at some point. TechCrunch just published a list of the top 50 most recession-proof businesses.
Which I didn't agree with at all.
I don't agree with that at all either. Yeah,
just
that list is
FYI.
has zero founding. They pretty much based it on who has money.
Yeah.
So just because a company has money, all of a sudden they are
I saw a lot of really
recession-proof. Who knows what their burn rate is? Who knows how fast they're going through it? I mean, that's one small indicator.
Yeah, I saw a lot of companies that I think have really shaky business models on there.
Agreed. That's one thing. I mean, one thing is like VCs giving them more money than they need to to run their business. So companies need $10 million for the next year to run their business. VC gives them $50 million. They're now committed to being in business for the next 3-ish years or something like that. That's a fair amount of sustainability.
Right.
Right. Other indicators to be looking at is the company actually making money. Right. So a lot of these like Me Too social networking companies, Me Too advertising generated, web consumer companies. I think push is going to have to come to shove with some of these guys. They're going to have to show some sort of ability to make money, some kind of sustainability.
I say this every time that I start bashing on advertising only models. Is that, well, I guess people said it never worked with cable TV. Okay, wrong.
Right.
But there's such a different dynamic whenever it comes to the internet, and I don't think people have it figured out yet. But I do especially think that in an economic downturn, we're undoubtedly, if not in a recession, headed towards one after what has been a horrible third quarter for the economy. There businesses like that are, to use the term, one-trick ponies. We were discussing Amazon.com today and a very diversified business plan between advertising, web services, e-commerce, all of these different things. They're a company I think that has phenomenal sustainability, or even a small company modeled like that. A company that, like I said, a one-trick pony who's making money sheerly off advertising, I think is walking a very thin line in a downturn economy. People argue right and wrong, but one of the first things they'll start doing is drawing back on what they see as non-essential costs, and one of those things is advertising.
Right.
You can argue that in a time like this you should be spending more money, but the plain and simple fact is that they don't. They start drawing back, and one of the first places they do it is an undiversified business model, and I think that can be just subscriptions and no advertising. I think that's just as dangerous as just advertising and nothing else. But I think one of the things that candidates should most watch out for when considering a startup is companies that don't have a backup plan. Like, okay, so the advertising model just falls to the floor. How are we going to make money? And if they don't have an answer to that question, you should be concerned. Companies with multiple revenue streams consistently are the ones that perform the best.
Right.
Certainly, there are certainly exceptions to that rule. Google founded their empire on advertising. No questions. They're a phenomenal example of somebody who was able to do it that way.
But we'll now see what happens.
And now they're branching out to some extent, but there's even questions there still. But you look at companies, I just use Amazon over and over as a well-diversified group. Microsoft, they're a company that they've made money in servers, they've made money in desktop products, they've made money in web services. Across the board, they're a diversified company. These are some of the bigger ones. There are startups out there that are doing the exact same thing. They're making money in commerce, they're making money in advertising, they're making money in lots of different areas, and I think those are at least the safest bets today.
I mean, multiple revenue streams are great, but with a lot of the smaller companies, it's just not likely,
Right, but I think that's what, then you're 110% right. Probably 95% of the groups out there don't. But if you're being picky in today's economy and you want an as foolproof opportunity as possible, if you're really qualifying that, is this company going to be around, those 5% of companies that do offer that multiple revenue stream are at minimum a safer bet.
Yeah, I think I'd just rather, probably looking from my own standpoint, move forward with a company that has one revenue stream that actually has been proven to work. And it really doesn't matter if the company makes money off advertising and a subscription service and they have all these revenue streams, but nothing's really bringing them money. If a company has an advertising platform that absolutely works, I mean,
part of the trouble
you can't discount them for that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with an advertising-based business. It's just the Me Too. Let's just post ads alongside our services, draw eyeballs, and then keep our fingers crossed and pray that, dear Lord, that someone clicks on our ads is the problem.
Yeah, I'm not
advertising makes money. I mean, it's supported the TV and entertainment industry for how long?
I'm by no means trying to make a case that every advertising business is going to fall through. More just to say that the more diversified your business model, I think the safer you are as a candidate moving forward with a company like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think like anything else, it has to be a balance. You have to have effective revenue streams, or it doesn't matter how many you have.
But the flip side of that is also how many startup companies don't have a clue how they're going to make money.
Right.
I asked a B-round funded client one time how, I thought they had a very cool piece of technology. Like, what they were doing was extremely interesting. How are you guys gonna make money off this though? B-round funded, company been open 2 years, couldn't answer the question.
Well, their answer is
I
probably
never really
we're going
got
to sell
that one.
ourselves. We're going to sell ourselves to. I mean, some companies are literally built just to sell.
Yeah.
And
the
then
plan
throw
is
that
not
hot
to make
potato at someone else.
The
so
plan
let's
is
the
not
other
to make
company
money.
Figure out how they're going to make
Yeah,
money.
because Google, Yahoo, I mean, all these big companies are saying, okay, do we spend 100 million building this ourselves, or do we spend 50 million just buying another company?
I never really understood that though. The theory of let's just drive people to the site and we'll figure out how to make money later.
Because users to the site equal dollars. I mean, if Google
Yeah, but
did,
if you can't monetize it later down the road, what are you going to do?
someone else might be able to though. The
That's
plan
a
is
pretty
the
big
plan is to
gamble to
exit.
take, no?
But half of these companies are built to be exited. Very few of these businesses are built to be self-sustaining, standalone.
Which could speak to like the 1 in 20 conversion rate for startups also, but
Yeah, VCs fund 20 to get one big payback.
Yeah,
so,
and so that
it's a gamble. It's a crapshoot.
there might be something to be said for the start figuring out how to make money idea, but
Yeah.
But it's definitely the case though that a lot of companies do just roll the dice and let's get picked up.
Yeah.
I think the more that people continue on the path of perpetual looking, whether or not the company is going to be truly successful or be the next biggest thing is going to be a little bit less relevant. And it's going to come down to more, do I like the people? Is the work exciting for me? Will I be happy for 2 to 3 years here? Will this be a nice thing to put on my resume? And if they can answer yes to all those, then the exit strategy and what they're going to make off their stock options becomes not irrelevant, but a little bit less, paramount.
Yeah, it's less about the ends and more about the means.
It is.
Less about the company, more about what you're going to gain while working there.
Right. It's just different personality types. Some people look at a company, they don't care what they're doing, as long as they think the company's going to make it and they're going to make a killing off the stock options. Other people care less. They just want to be happy in their job. They just want to do work that's exciting and enjoy coming to work every day.
And my experience is there's more people like that.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people, I've definitely had people say that I'm joining a startup as an investment for me. Like, I want to join a group that I think there's at least a good chance they'll successfully exit and my equity will cash in. I would say by and large, I'm much more often here. I just want to go to work at a company that has minimal bureaucracy. I get to build a huge piece of the overall pie. That's what's important to me. The equity, if it pays off, awesome. I love that, but if it doesn't, I've got a lot of shingles of equity hanging on my wall that never meant a thing. You know what? I still had a good career and I enjoyed myself.
At the same time, picking the right company could, prove fruitful years down the road when you're trying to like build on top of a resume, right? You see people that work for 3-4 companies that you've never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure at the time you asked those guys, at the time, why join this company, this company, this company, and they're like, it was hot, just got funded, this, that, all this stuff happens, and then 3 years, 5 years later, 5 jobs later, couple not right decisions, and you start questioning judgment, right?
Mm-hmm.
How big of a deal is judgment when considering someone for your job? These people have to make decisions.
Right.
And if they have a history of making the wrong decisions, then they will probably continue to make wrong decisions.
I think a lot of it comes down to the specific positions that we recruit for. If we placed salespeople, we'd be getting a completely different story. They'd be much more focused on the business model, on whether or not the company was going to be successful. Being that we work with engineers are very close to artists. They care about their work, they're passionate about the work more so than the things surrounding it, what the company's going to do in their exit strategy. So I think a lot of it just caters to the fact that we deal with engineers, not to say that there's not engineers out there who have a great business sense. There obviously is, but not as much as some of the other positions out there that you'd find in a web property and enterprise software firm, where they were more focused on the business side, and that would really be the main thing that they're looking at when determining whether or not it's someone they want to move forward with.
Yeah, I think we got some good points on the how to define whether or not a company is going to meet that level of sustainability you're looking for in your next opportunity over the next few years. We'll post a couple of these points on our blog. Moving over to the candidate side, right? Companies have to be thinking, okay, market's starting to tighten a little bit, more candidates are starting to enter the marketplace. Should we be tightening our reins right now? Should we be opening our reins right now to bring on board that many more people while others are tightening? What should companies be looking for in that ideal candidate? What is an ideal candidate? How do we even tell that someone is ideal?
I think this is a whole can of worms, because like we talked about earlier, there's the right candidate for
a job.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Like, everybody needs somebody different. Like, we have clients who just say, here is kind of our prototype. We'll hire as many of these prototypes as you can bring us. But there are also lots, for every time we get told that, every company kind of has a little different little prototype, so hard to say exact right candidate.
Right.
If we're trying to define, maybe more broadly what they're, like the things maybe to tell who's going to be a sticking candidate, who's going to stick around, who's going to really benefit your business.
Well, let's even say who's going to get the nod, who's going to get the call. Let's be real, right? Someone posts an ad and 100 people are going to apply, 200 people are going to apply. If it's if it's a word of mouth opportunity and it's closer to the top, there's still a rat race there. There's always a rat race that you're competing with, right?
Sure.
You're never the one,
Never.
right? What should done? No? Yeah, wrap it up.
Yeah, the wrap it up
30
symbol.
seconds.
We're going to talk about what indicators we look for to identify top candidates and what companies look for as well.